Men get abused too. Many men minimize these experiences by joking about them with other men. Oh, that's just women. Happy wife, happy life. That's marriage. No.
Je ne veux plus de toi, je ne vois plus d'étoiles. Je vois que des nuages, je connais l'amour et ses rouages. Encore un homme qui fuit, encore les larmes.
Hi, my name is Joannis, and tune in for more on YouTube at La Peachy Rebel. Just because it's common doesn't mean it's normal. If unhealthy behavior becomes normalized through memes, jokes, movies, or cultural expectations, it doesn't suddenly become acceptable. Emotional abuse is still emotional abuse, even when people laugh about it. Now, let's get into what female on male abuse can look like. When people hear the word abuse, many immediately picture physical violence or visible injuries. The reality? Abuse is often quiet. It slowly chips away at your confidence, your identity, and your peace until one day you realize you're exhausted, anxious, depressed, or emotionally numb. You may notice you've lost your spark. You stop expressing yourself, you start choosing peace over honesty because conflict simply isn't worth it anymore. You become less focused on yourself just to keep the relationship functioning. I can assure you that many of the jokes and memes about typical girlfriend, typical wife behavior are not cute when they're your everyday reality. Understanding the difference between healthy relationship dynamics and unhealthy ones is essential. There's a difference between emotional closeness and emotional dependence, between vulnerability and control, insecurity and abuse. For example, people joke about women jumping to conclusions as though it's simply part of being in a relationship. It isn't. Now, occasionally misreading a situation is human, but living with constant accusations, relentless suspicion, jealousy, paranoia, false narratives, or perpetual victimhood is something entirely different. Those behaviors often point to a deeper emotional or psychological issues that deserve attention, not normalization. And no, it's not your job to spend your life managing someone else's distorted perception of reality. If your relationship revolves around constantly proving your innocence, calming irrational fears, defending yourself against imaginary accusations, or changing your behavior to prevent another emotional explosion, that is not intimacy. That's emotional exhaustion. Over time, you may find yourself constantly nurturing, accommodating, apologizing, or shrinking yourself simply to manage your partner's emotions. Without realizing it, you may begin enabling, controlling, manipulative, or emotionally abusive patterns. Some people genuinely don't recognize that their behavior is abusive until they're confronted with it. Others know exactly what they're doing. Either way, the impact on you is real. Patterns that may indicate emotional abuse. The following behaviors are not normal, healthy, or acceptable in a relationship. You constantly walk on eggshells because you're afraid of upsetting your partner. You agree with things you don't actually believe simply to avoid another argument or lecture. You are blamed for your partner's insecurities or extreme jealousy until you slowly stop being yourself. You receive ultimatums, the silent treatment, emotional withdrawal, withheld affection, or demands to apologize simply to restore your peace. You are expected to apologize before you've even had time to process what happened because of the popular myth that couples should, quote unquote, never go to bed angry. Now listen, Stop spreading that advice as though it's universally healthy, cute, or loving. Some people genuinely need time to think, sleep, take a walk, regulate their emotions, or reflect before having a productive conversation. Forcing immediate resolution often benefits the person demanding it in that moment, and certainly not long term. So maybe stop the foolishness. Now, where were we? You are insulted, yelled at, sworn at, belittled, mocked, or criticized until your self worth slowly erodes. You avoid liking social media posts, talking to certain people, seeing friends, or interacting with other women because you know another accusation is coming. You feel pressured to post couple photos, grand romantic gestures, or relationship milestones online to prove your loyalty rather than because you genuinely want to. Your partner constantly criticizes your friends, particularly women in your life, invents motives that don't exist, jumps to conclusions, or creates an unhealthy us versus them mentality to reassure themselves. Your partner threatens to leave, take your children, damage your reputation, or use money against you whenever conflict arises. These are not signs of love. These are forms of emotional abuse. And listen, I'm going to add this extra little thing in here. You will see some couples in a toxic dynamic feeding off of each other. For example, with jealousy, some people are so insecure and have not addressed it that they mistaken jealousy for feeling loved, desired, and wanted. They may receive jealousy as something that's just cute. Now, if their partner is also like this, then the toxicity sort of feeds off of each other. So they both have this unhealthy pattern of getting jealous with one another and arguing and making up and getting jealous again and arguing and making up. And they somehow feel as though if the partner gets jealous, then it must mean love. But hey, you know what? If that's the case, if jealousy truly fulfills you on both ends, then by all means, have at it. Moving on. Mental health is not a free pass. Having anxiety, ADHD, autism, bipolar disorder, trauma, depression, or any other mental health condition does not automatically make someone abusive. Likewise, having a diagnosis does not excuse abusive behavior. Mental health can explain why someone struggles. It does not remove personal responsibility. If your partner repeatedly uses their diagnosis to justify controlling behavior, manipulation, emotional abuse, or refusing accountability, that's a serious problem. You are not their therapist, you are their partner. Many people with significant mental health challenges maintain loving, respectful relationships because they take responsibility for their behavior. Others, unfortunately, weaponize mental health language to avoid accountability or manipulate situations. Those are two very different things. Now, some people even go as far as selectively quote or misrepresent what their therapist supposedly said because they know most partners won't question it. I have seen this in the past with manipulative people. I mean, where they actually lied that they were seeing a therapist, and then they would tell their partner, oh, my therapist said to do this or do that, or that this is how I'm supposed to be, making things up or twisting things so that they're a victim and can continue to get away with whatever they're doing. This is one reason couples therapy alongside individual therapy, when appropriate, can sometimes be beneficial. It's also important to remember that diagnoses are not personality templates. No two people experience the same condition in the same way. Having the same diagnosis does not automatically mean having the same behavior. For example, I have ADHD and I'm autistic. And just because you are or have had a partner with the same diagnosis doesn't mean we're going to present the same way. These things are a spectrum. And quite frankly, there are other neurodivergent individuals I have met with the same diagnosis as me that I do not get along with at all. There are many other life factors that also shape an individual. Even in my own family, we share some of the same diagnosis and still yet have our differences. So keep in mind that while therapy can be life changing, simply attending therapy doesn't guarantee change or success with an individual or in a partnership. Things may still lead to going separate ways. Progress depends on many things, including the quality of the therapist, the type of therapy, whether the therapist and client are a good fit, how honest the client is, their level of self awareness, and whether they're genuinely willing to do the work. And keep in mind that some mental health issues, unfortunately, are very complex and difficult to treat because a part of certain illnesses is that they don't think they're the problem. And they always tend to think that other people are the problem and that they are the victim. That can make things a lot more challenging. So, yes, some people remain trapped in a victim mindset for years. So, in some ways, as frustrating as that may be, for some people with their mental health, they are not intentionally doing that. It is literally a part of their mental health condition. If you notice things like a consistent pattern of burning bridges, repeated conflicts with family, friends, colleagues, or previous partners, or you find yourself constantly apologizing just to restore peace, pay attention. You cannot heal someone who refuses accountability. You cannot fix problems you didn't create, and no amount of guilt, sympathy, or love can do someone else's inner work for them. So I encourage you to be honest with yourself. How much change have you actually seen? How long are you willing to wait? Don't lose 5 years of your life waiting for growth that realistically could have happened in 1 year. Educate yourself, read, join support groups, consider therapy or coaching. A neutral, informed perspective can help you trust yourself again after years of second guessing your own reality. You deserve peace, respect, and a relationship where you can fully be yourself instead of constantly managing someone else's emotions. Thanks for watching. I'm Joannis, and tune in for more on YouTube at La Peachy Rebel. Au revoir. À la prochaine. See you next time.